So let's see if we can do that again. Let's repeat the track app and then hold OK to initialize line lock. Again, the visual of the brakes will pop up, and then you really have to stomp on the brakes, and then when you press OK, it'll hold the brakes for you, and you have 15 seconds to really just press on it, and when you're ready, press OK again, and that'll really warm up the tires. Hey, how's it going, everyone? Welcome to Shifting Lanes. My name is Hanson. Thanks for tuning into the video, and for this one, I'm sitting in the 2021 Ford Mustang Mach 1. This is the premium model. It's finished in grabber yellow paint with the standard black and white stripes. This also has the 700A equipment group, which is the base equipment, and that includes the aluminum foot pedals, heated and cooled front seats, heated steering wheel, and memory driver's seat. And the other options included in this press example are the 10-speed automatic transmission, the nav system, and the Mach 1 Elite package, which is basically an upgraded 12-speaker B&O stereo system. And also, this doesn't have the Mach 1 handling package, which has one of the best looking wheels. It also doesn't have the ultra sticky Pilot Sport Cup 2 tires. Instead, this is wearing the PS4S tires. It's also missing the giant rear lip spoiler, the front splitter, and the slightly different chassis tuning. So basically, this is the Mach 1 for the street, and if you can find one without any dealership markup, this is actually somewhat attainable, because with all the packages, this is under $58,000 after destination. And in this video, I want to share with you my likes and dislikes about this Mustang Mach 1 so that you have a better idea before you go out and buy one. And just for background, I have tested several Mustangs at this point. I've driven various GTs and EcoBoosts, and I've also tested the GT350 on the track. And the last Mustang I tested was the GT500 at the GT500 track tour at New Jersey Motorsports Park. So if you want to watch that, please click the link up here. This time I won't have access to the track, sadly, so I'm gonna see what it's like to drive this Mach 1 on the street. Now, if you have a 10-speed automatic transmission, then the experience here is gonna be about the same as the Mustang GT with the GT Performance Pack. If you go with a manual version, the Mach 1 gets a superior Tremec 6-speed transmission that came from the GT350. And that won't be available in the Mustang GT. Pricing wise, between the two, it's going to be very close, with the Mach 1 being a little bit more expensive, roughly by about $2 grand if you try to match the equipment. But I think it's worth the premium, because this is a special edition Mustang, and you'll also get the better looking front and rear bumpers and the Mach 1 unique upgrades like the special stripes, the bigger exhaust tips, and on the inside you'll get the special Mach 1 badging showing the serial number. And then this one, this is the number 2 Mach 1. What a treat to be driving a single-digit serial number, and it just makes driving this car even more special. Regardless of that number, I think this is all worth the price, and that premium you paid up front for the Mach 1 should hold if and when you resell this car. And driving any Mach 1 for that matter is such a treat, because this car, you're going to get so much attention in it, especially with the grabber yellow paint and that V8 sound. It is awesome, because this has that active valve exhaust, and when you put it into party mode, it's always party time in this car. So I'm going to jump in the driver's seat and let's go for a drive. All right, so let's get going on the road in the Mach 1. I've got a couple of errands to run, and then later we're going to go on some back roads to really test out all the different drive modes. But I imagine that most Mach 1 and most Mustang GT buyers are going to be using this for their daily driving, so this is what life is like going to be behind the Mustang Mach 1. This is a very comfortable car to drive. The seats are comfortable. The ride quality is pretty good. Again, this has the MagneRide suspension, so that's basically magneto-rheological fluid or magnetic fluid, whatever you want to call it. But when you send electricity through the suspension system, it'll get more stiff. So right now I'm driving in normal mode. This is the default setting, and the ride quality is pretty good. I'm not going to complain about this at all. This is a comfortable car, and if you like to take this on road trips, this is going to be a wonderful cruiser. Mileage is going to be as expected for a V8, because this has a 5-liter V8 that's sourced from the Mustang GT. This doesn't have the GT 350 Voodoo engine, unfortunately, the 5.2 flat plane V8, but that's okay because this still gets all the same sounds, and it's just a fantastic sounding engine. I'm driving under normal mode, so the exhaust valving, this has active exhaust, it's on the normal setting, so it's a little bit more on the quiet side. This also has that good neighbor mode so that you could set a quiet start, so that when you're just leaving for work, you won't wake up your neighbors. And one thing I noticed here under normal driving, and I'll try this again when we're in the back roads, is that when we're just cruising here, we're going about 40 miles per hour, I'm in gear 8. This is equipped with a 10-speed automatic transmission, and this is trying to eke out as many miles as possible from a gallon of gas, so it's trying to bump it up to the overdrive gears so that we get better mileage. Under normal driving too, the throttle response is not as sharp, and it's going to take a little bit of time because it tries to downshift to the proper gears before it gives you the punch. All right, so we've been driving under normal. Let's switch it over to Sport Plus. This is the more fun mode because it opens up the exhaust a little bit. You can probably hear it now. And the transmission is also going to shift a bit more aggressively. It's going to try and downshift so that you're in the power band a little bit more. I'm really going to watch my speed here because you can easily go to jail in this car, and I think the yellow paint doesn't help you blending in with the rest of the crowd. And now driving under Sport Plus mode, the suspension is a little bit bumpier. The MagneRide suspension is stiffening up a little bit, but it's not rough. If you want to see what a rough suspension is like, I daily drive a Hyundai Veloster N, and when you put that in N mode, the suspension is ultra stiff to the point where it's really uncomfortable to drive. But this one, in comparison, this is really a nice ride, even in Sport Plus mode. And for daily driving purposes, the infotainment system has Apple CarPlay in it, so I'm happy. It's also got built-in navigation. That's one of the extras in this car. But overall, this is a nice infotainment system because everything is within easy reach, and also the menu system makes pretty good sense. While we're at a stoplight here, I'm looking at all the different faces in the other cars, and they are just focused on this Mustang. I think the grabber yellow paint definitely is a very eye-catching color. So getting on the highway, and quickly, depending on your throttle position, it will bump up the gears all the way up to 10. So if you drive a bit more aggressively with a throttle position at a higher percentage, it's going to try and bump the gears down a little bit lower. So it thinks that you're driving a little more aggressively. So let's see, right now just cruising around 9th gear, 73 miles per hour. Throttle about 5%. If we go to 100% throttle, let's see what happens. Immediately bumps down to 4th gear, and it's so quick the way it just changes all the way down. It doesn't try to toggle down through the gears, it just jumps all the way down to 4th gear, 6th gear jump. If you tried using the paddle shifters, that's going to take forever. So let the car do the shifting for you. Let's see what happens when we do that in normal mode. So just getting up to speed already, it tries to bump up the gears pretty quickly in normal mode. And right now, going about 70 miles per hour, 10th gear, throttle about 5%-ish. Let's step on it. Okay, so it jumps back down to 4th gear too. I thought it was going to be a little bit more conservative, but under normal mode, it still goes all the way down to gear 4 when I was going 70 miles per hour under normal mode. So let's switch it over to snow mode and see what that does. This is snow and wet. So this is supposed to change throttle positioning to like comfort, changing the steering to comfort. So Again, driving about 70 miles per hour, throttle about 5%. What if I just step on it? Still, it goes down to 4th gear. And okay, so there's no difference. It really all depends on throttle positioning. If you go too aggressive, it'll jump down all the way down to the proper power band. So that's great. So let's switch back to just Sport Plus, which is the typical setting for everyday driving. Again, it defaults under normal. And under this mode, you know, again, that active valve exhaust is opened up. Brings a smile to my face. This is so much fun to drive. As for driving assistance stuff, you know, the cruise control seems like it's the only feature available. It does have like that pre-collision detection, so that helps. But in terms of all the other driving bonuses, like 360-degree camera, doesn't have that. It only has the rear backup camera standard, which is a requirement by law. There's no lane keeping system. This is the car that you are supposed to drive by yourself, which is, hey, I'm not going to complain about that. Okay, so I think that's enough of driving on the highway. Let's take it to our favorite back road. Now let's shift into Sport Plus. So at this point, the gauge cluster changes its look. It has like this large sweeping tack. And in Sport Plus, this is the best street setting because a couple of things change. The throttle response is more aggressive. The exhaust is in party mode. And also the adaptive suspension is a little bit more aggressive. It feels a bit bumpier. It's a little stiffer. Transmission is also a bit more lively. Tries to hold on to the gears a little bit more. Steering just feels super solid. And I have the sticky PS4S tires and I freaking love it. And that active exhaust, it just sounds amazing. You really hear the V8 burble in here, and I've switched to my camera's mic, so what you're hearing is what I'm hearing as well. And of course, there's also drag mode, and in drag mode, that's the mode you'll be in when you're at the drag strip, and also that's the only way to access the line lock feature. So let's go into drag strip mode, and we're going to go into the My mode, or actually the track apps, hit line lock, hold OK to initialize line lock, the brakes pop up, engage firmly, really step on it a lot of brake pressure, and then press OK to begin. The brakes hold, you just so easy to do. Ooh, man, that is the one thing about the drag mode, is that it tries to hold the RPMs a lot. So let's see if we can do that again. Let's repeat the track app and then hold OK to initialize line lock. Again, the visual of the brakes will pop up, and then you really have to stomp on the brakes, and then when you press OK, it'll hold the brakes for you, and you have 15 seconds to really just press on it, and when you're ready, press OK again. Chirp going into second gear. What an amazing car. So let's go back to the normal mode and just talk more about this car. Mustang Mach 1, what a fantastic sports car. Definitely get this over the Mustang GT if you can. Mustang GT with the performance pack is going to be about the same price as this one, so you know, you really have to weigh things out. Should you pay a little bit more? And most likely there is going to be a markup on this thing, but I'm thinking that, you know, that premium is going to hold when it comes time to resell this thing. But if you just care about the driving experience and you're thinking about buying the automatic transmission, then the Mustang GT with the performance pack is going to be the better deal. It's going to be the cheaper Mustang to buy. But if it were me, I would totally get the Mach 1. I would get it in the manual transmission because it comes with the Tremec transmission from the GT350. And of course, it's the Mach 1. It looks so good. It has the revised front bumper and the rear bumper. It just looks so unique, and I freaking love it in this grabber yellow paint. It just looks so freaking good. Well, there you have it. Let me wrap it up right there. I want to thank you so much for watching all the way till the end. If you learned something, please consider hitting that like button, and if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe and that notification bell so that you can be notified anytime we make a new video. Let's wrap it up right there. My name's Hanson. This has been the 2021 Ford Mustang Mach 1, and I will see you next time.